live in the suburbs connect to the Anarchy, an argument for keeping the net chaotic. Thomas Hobbes once wrote that life in the state of nature is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short, and I really just can't relate. Maybe it's because I live within the confines of rows and rows of the white picket fences of Long Island for too long, but I think I speak for civil libertarians everywhere when I say that certain kinds of free and unregulated environments have benefits. Of course, there's danger in any sphere where rule of law is weak. But chaos brings an urgency that creates purpose for all who live within its confines. Chaos makes us wake up. Chaos makes us think critically. And chaos urges us to experiment so as to grow, gain skills, and fend for ourselves. That's why I argue that we should keep the internet as unregulated as possible for as long as possible. The most chaotic spaces on the web are human petri dishes, sociological playgrounds, if you will. Basically, we witness a greater range of human behavior on the web than we do in settled urban and suburban environments throughout the US, because of the liberties we're encouraged to take in virtual environments. Right now, there is a mass of real personalities floating around in unregulated virtual environments, and we're already seeing the benefits. Take World of Warcraft, for example. Users are encouraged to stretch boundaries in ways brick-and-mortar societies just can't afford to incentivize. Accordingly, users, and now social scientists, can use these environments to gain insight into the social dynamics of high-crisis situations like suicide bombing and epidemic outbreaks. More importantly, they can do so without the usual high societal cost of this sort of knowledge. But how does this cross over to marketing? Well, it's true that Gmail's ad targeting is at times invasive and embarrassing, but it helps those of us who are otherwise sheltered, for instance, upper-middle-class young suburbanites, to learn important life lessons about human nature and the world. That's why we shouldn't regulate it. When you look at the other videos on this channel, you'll see that your morning email teaches you as much about exploitation, power, corruption, and psychology as it does about weather or about your friend's newest crush. Ad targeting reminds and even forces us to ask ourselves the tough questions. What kind of person or company would want this information? How are all of these great free services paid for? And that there's mainstream press coverage, warning of dangers, goes to show that a number of users have identified and called attention to these dangers. Unregulated net marketing wakes us up and motivates us to reflect on the very human dynamics that have manifested themselves in particularly weird and ugly ways. The same goes for targeted ads on MySpace and Facebook and all other sorts of unregulated net marketing. Even spam tells us something about ourselves. We've all had that moment. You look in your mailbox, find another message about Viagra, and suddenly realize that it wouldn't be profitable to send these around if there wasn't a large group of us who routinely click through and then buy mail-order prescription products from practically anonymous international sources. Similarly, users benefit from struggling with the profound but simple questions raised by the recent blurring of content and advertising. Product placement and sponsored links in Google search results exercise our cognitive skills and keep us on our toes. To our benefit, a less dependable boundary between content and marketing adds an extra level of complexity to our daily routines that takes us all even further off autopilot. Now, we need to distinguish between the information we search for and the information that's searching for us. Rather than a curse, it's a blessing that we can never be sure whether somebody's selling us something on the web. At the very least, it forces us to internalize media literacy. At the very most, it makes us wonder if there's ever a time somebody's not selling something. With regulation comes top-down control and paternalistic homogenization, which is great for safety. But it stifles the individual's exploration of the vast spectrum of human behavior. Of course, as my channel mates explain, measures to eliminate predatory and invasive web advertising will solve a very important societal problem. But the regulation solution costs users the chance to experience, and for many of those users, to learn how to recognize and outsmart unfiltered virtual assaults on their critical faculties. For reasons which I hope I made clear, that cost is not covered by the benefits of regulation. Thank you.